The record show it was a 5-0 vote. Audience, oral, and written communications.
My name is George Sandy, and I'm a 23-year-old resident here. And the point I wanted to discuss is the last meeting of the council. At the regular session of the council, we had a brief discussion about paying the airport fuel bill, and one of the councilmen excused himself and was escorted out of the room, so he had no chance to comment on the transaction or vote on it because he had that conflict of interest because he works for that company. Then you fast forward to the closed session, and in that, the public is not present, and the staff and the council and city attorney, city manager, and others I'm not quite sure are all in attendance. Also in attendance is the councilman who flatly stated that he had a conflict of interest in this issue, and he was allowed to go into this closed session out of the eye of the public and the press, I assume, and do whatever he wants to do in that meeting. I have no idea what freedom he has in there, but I do know he doesn't have the right to vote. If he has the right to speak, then I think that is a travesty of justice, because it's out of the public eye. It's not adhering to this transparency policy that certain individuals are always preaching for. And I cannot understand the rationale between the treatment on the regular session and then on the closed session, where all the particulars are already published for the public to read. The people involved in the transaction and the amount of money involved. That's my opinion there. I think it's a travesty of justice, and I believe the city staff ought to re-examine that procedure, because all the people that I've talked to in the public cannot understand this discrepancy in treatment on the two sessions. And furthermore, we would question, why does it have to be in secret session? That's my comment. And anybody on the council or attorney care to answer to any of those comments, I'd be happy to hear them.
Time's expired.
Yeah, okay. Your time's up, but we'll let the attorney answer that question.
I'll just talk about why we go into closed session on that. The Brown Act allows going into closed session to hear price and terms of payment. We go into closed session on those matters because the Brown Act allows going into closed session to discuss the price and terms of payment for leases or purchases.
What allows you?
The Brown Act.
The Brown Act, okay.
Yes. So that's why we go into closed session on those items.
Now, is a person that declares themselves having a conflict of interest, are they allowed to speak?
You know, I'm not going to get into what happened in closed session.
What?
I'm not going to get into what happened in closed session. That's
Why isn't the public?
That's confidential.
Why should that be confidential? We may be on the council ourselves one day. Is it only privy to you 5 people, 6
Yes,
people?
that's correct.
Well, I'll have to accept that right now. Any other comments? And can anybody explain why in regular session, the councilman that declares a conflict of interest gets a chief of police to escort him out of the room? for the discussion and the vote.
Well, we had an opinion from the FPPC on that, the Federal Political Practices Commission. So he has to, that's one way of handling it. Now, some cities handle it a little differently. We've chosen not to.
Do you have a copy of that decision?
Probably.
Would it be available to you?
Pardon me?
Could you make it available?
Just talk to the clerk.
Okay. Is there any other opinions from the council? I'd certainly like to hear what you think of this issue, and I'm willing to hold open sessions from the public on this.
I'm really sorry, but you're out of time. But if you would like to contact Jay or Corey tomorrow on this issue, I'm sure they can discuss it further with you. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Pete Graff City. I have some documents for council members. While you guys did those, if you could take a second to read, you can do that real quick. It's called the Doctrine of Latches. Madam Mayor, can you start my time after you take a look at this?
Well, I'm glancing at it, and all of us are. Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Well, I want you to understand what you're reading now.
I understand. Go ahead.
Okay. So the Doctrine of Latches, if you read it, then you actually, if you're perusing, you go to the second page. This is, if you have a legal claim, you have to act on it in a timely manner. What I've been asking you for, and if you're just perusing, if you look at the third page, can my employee respond to my employee rights, which was for me to be heard. I turned in the proper documents to be heard, and then you guys, as in subsection B down here, did not create a date to be heard. But yet, when Jay Johnson was here, he used the Doctrine of Latches as an argument stating that I was the one who was in a time delay. I was the one that I was the one that failed to come and make the request in a timely manner. There's nothing in here that says Pete Graff needs to come and structure up an appointment for you guys or make arrangements on your schedules or tell you need to be here. And if you read subsection B on the third page, you can see that it's very specific to you. The council will set the date for the appeal. Are we seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, understanding that latches does not even apply to this in any shape, form, or fashion. Because what we have is an employee agreement between the city and an employee. This is an argument for litigation in court. We're not going to court. Tom may say we may have pending litigation. I'm not suing anybody. I just want my rights honored. But he'll shut you guys down and he'll say, wait, we don't know if there's pending litigation. We don't know what's going on, Tom. I'm here to tell you I haven't filed anything. So if we can stop saying that, you'll be the first to know what I do. But I haven't. So stop scaring them with that response. So you as council members now need to be responsible for your actions. You have a job to do. And with Jay Johnson, the way he got up here to meet me as well, that was a little bit ridiculous. But see, he's a subcontractor, and this is how Greg and the guys do it. They get somebody else involved so their hands are clean. They want to make somebody else make some noise so that they don't look bad. Well, that's all out of the way now. I've showed you what Jay Johnson's argument was. Makes no sense. Jay Johnson was really shocking actually for an attorney to make that argument based off of he actually knows what the Doctrine of Latches is. But he sold it to you guys because since then, you don't want to respond to me based off that information. And it's the information I just provided to you. Now you're well educated. Joan, teacher, 30, 35 years. Ken, a degree. Susan, 4 or 5 jobs, drug counselor, teacher, newspaper reporter, all kinds of stuff. Phil, copy and repair guy.
You're out of time, Mr. Graff.
Michael, you run a business. You're educated people. You should be able to make the right decisions. Now, can you read this and say that what Mr. Johnson was arguing applies to me?
I'm not qualified to say that.
So you are qualified to say that.
Your time is up, Mr. Bradford.
But you are qualified to say that. You're the mayor.
I'm not an attorney.
I just showed you that it doesn't apply.
You're out of time.
Your time's up.
So that's just, so you're gonna run and hide under the umbrella of 3 minutes each time? Yeah? Well, at least you're honest, Tom, but you're an attorney, so you really don't care whose feelings you hurt.
You're out of time, Mr. Bradford.
Okay. Well, I passed that out to you guys. This is my employee rights. I'm to be heard. This is the agreement you were giving me saying I'm supposed to be heard. So we'll catch us up in a couple of weeks. You guys will be here, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Council, Mayor, Jim Jacobs, District 5. I need a quick clarification. Do we have 4 council members or do we have 5?
I believe we have 5.
So you're a council member, not mayor?
I'm a council member serving as mayor at this time.
So you're the mayor?
Yes,
Okay, so as a mayor, do you do city council stuff?
yes.
And are you paid for both of those?
No, sir.
You're getting one stipend for serving as which?
A council person.
A council person. That's true? You can verify that? Okay. The point I'm trying to make is, when you're appointed mayor, your responsibilities for District 5 kind of went to the wayside, the way I understand it. So that leaves an opening in District 5 to be represented by an actual council member, not an appointed mayor. I think we need to look into this and have an elected mayor by the public and let the 5 districts have their own council, so I don't see a conflict of interest with the mayor versus my District 5. And that's what my concerns are about this, and I would like to hear a rebuttal if you have anything. Madam Mayor, don't look at the legal side. It's you and me here.
Stop.
You're not allowed to.
First of all, I still represent District 5. I'm an appointed mayor. My council duties are the same for my entire 4-year term. I will be mayor for another 1.5 years. Any problems that are in District 5, let me know. I would be happy to address them.
I don't even think you're addressing what you initially were voted in for as far as what your platform said. So I have a problem with you saying, okay, I'm going to do all this stuff over here, but when I'm elected, the council's going to put me in mayor, and all that goes to the wayside. I think that is wrong. I think we need to have representation, and I'm going to stand by my statement. We need to have 5 councilors and 1 mayor. I think that is a waste of seat for a council member. I think the city deserves a hired mayor that will represent the city as a mayor, not, oh, today I'm a council member, oh, today I'm over here, I'm a mayor. That don't cut it with me. I think legally, I don't know. Attorney, you can jump in on this.
You sure you want me to?
Yes, I do.
You're absolutely wrong.
I didn't say I was right or wrong. I said, this is what I'd like to see.
Okay.
That doesn't mean I'm wrong.
That's your prerogative.
Okay. So what's wrong with having an elected mayor?
You can have an elected
5, but the council person.
You have to go through an election to have that form of government. McFarland has that form.
I don't care about McFarland.
I'm telling you, that's how you get an election.
Okay, I'm done with you. Council, can you please respond?
What do you want them to respond to? Whether or not to have an elected
Council,
mayor?
anybody?
What do you want them to respond to?
Yes, sir. Mr. Smith.
Sure. And can I jump?
Yes, you can.
Go with that. All right.
Okay, go.
Is our form of government, we elect 5 council members, 1 from each district. Right? And we select someone to act as mayor for 2 years. You, as mayor and council member, you still are responsible for your district as a mayor, but you also run the meetings. It's not like you come into city council, have a desk, and operate the city.
No, you used to go all these fancy dinners and get awards and
When you were mayor, were you elected as mayor or just as a council member?
First, I was elected as a councilor, and I served my term, and then I was elected by the city to be the mayor.
At large.
At large.
Yeah.
I had no council responsibilities from that day forward. And I just see a conflict of interest here because I want to know my mayor is my mayor today and always. Not one day, well, I'm a council person, call me, meet me, coffee with the mayor.
If I may.
Well, that's the mayor's statement.
If I may.
want the councilor's statement.
When you're the mayor, you're a mayor/council member.
No. Here you
Yes.
are.
Yes.
Yeah, I was not.
Well, okay, in your case, in our form of government, until the electorate says we want an elected mayor and 5 council members, and then we're going to have 6 people, then we're going to have, you would have to redistrict to 4 districts.
Probably.
And
Right.
then select a mayor outside of that.
And who would only vote in case of a tie.
No.
Yes.
You can put that in the contract or however.
So, okay.
I'm sorry, Tom?
That's not the way an elected mayor operates under the California law. If you're a charter city,
Hang on, Jen.
If you're-
Please let him finish for a minute.
if you're a charter city, you can do that, like Bakersfield, the mayor only votes in case of
I see.
tie. But if you had an elected mayor under the state law statutes, there was 5 council members, 1 mayor and 4 council members, and they'd all have the right to vote.
Okay.
I like Bakersfield's idea. I think we need that here. I think that'll lift and expose some more transparency, which all you guys want. And I think we need that. And now legal, how do we do this with the electorate?
You petition the council to call an election.
I make a motion that the council set up an election.
No, you have to petition them. You have to
You
get
didn't say that. You said ask them.
No, I said petition the council.
Now you say.
No, I said it right at the beginning.
Okay, that's what I'd like to see. So what does it take to petition then?
You'll have to check with the clerk.
Clerk, you're up.
Jim, it's a process.
This is 3 minutes.
I know
Yes.
that's a
He's way over
process,
it.
but I want
I'm really
clarification.
sorry, but you're out of time. If you can contact
I am sorry
Ashley
too.
afterwards, after the meeting, you can call her tomorrow, and she'll be happy to discuss this with you.
Okay, so you guys have...
Mr. Jacobs.
Yes, sir.
Just one moment. You can pull off of the internet, which I have done, and I've made numerous copies for people around town who had exactly your question. This is the comparison, this is the table that shows general law versus charter law, okay, for small towns, big towns, whatever. This is a very, very good document that describes about 99% of what you just talked about. Pull this off of the computer, print it out, take a look at that, and understand what that means, charter versus general law, and then you can get with the clerk and figure out if proceeding with an elected mayor is what this community wants.
Okay,
I personally feel it's a good thing to have an elected mayor.
thank you, sir, I appreciate that.
This is available online though.
Any councilors have another comment? I'm over my time, I know that, but I don't care.
Well,
I've got the
you
floor for a few more
need, you
minutes.
are out of time, sir. I'm
I
really sorry.
understand that, ma'am, but I have one last question on the floor, and Ken's the only one that has responded.
Jim, let's let the process flow. As far as the way it's worked since inception, it's worked for the community for a long time, but if we're due for a change, let's let the...
We are way overdue for a change, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Good afternoon, Chief, everybody. Susan Wiggins, how you been?
Fine.
Good. Kennedy. Jay Slosser, how you doing?
Fine, sir.
I have a problem, do I address you or can I address him?
Tell us what your problem
Well,
is.
my problem is my wife's been, me and the doghouse have been going through a lot of stuff lately since after the election. Codes and violations and everything. We've been trying to get everything taken care of. And my wife was over there with Mr. Schlosser, and you like attacking my wife, right? Right? You like talking down to her, making her cry? We're the law, we can do what we want? Is that the way is the city supposed to be there to help you, not attack somebody, especially my wife? Now, you're saying that you didn't attack her and look at her and say, on the law, I can do what I want? Did he say that?
I have no response.
You don't have no response?
Yes.
That's absolutely, there's a witness. But there's no reason, I just don't understand when we're trying to figure out how to save the doghouse saloon after the election. Everybody knows it's a hunch, what's going on. It's, you know, we're trying, and I'm trying to move out to Texas. I'm trying to hold on to what we got and try to move out to Texas. And so, you know, like, my bygones are bygones, right? I just want to leave. I want to make my money, sell my business, and leave. But when I get in a tag and I started out with one complaint. It started out with one complaint, and then we did that. Then it was 2 complaints. Then it was 3 complaints. And then it was 4 complaints. Then it was put in a road from the street to the doghouse. And then it was like, it was unbelievable, the stuff they were asking. Then they said they were paying off the fire department that's what he said. And get retaliation, and then he talks down to my wife. I had to come back from Texas instead of worrying about my business over there. All I want to do is get this done and be on my way. My kids got 1 year to graduate, and I want to leave in peace. That's all I want. You talked to my wife, and you said that the wall goes back up, all this goes away, and you went like this. And all of a sudden, right, you talked down to her, and you lied to her. Now you're bringing up more stuff, and I'm done with it. And not just that, Chief. You know you're a code enforcement guy, right? When I went over there to meet with the city with Greg Garrett, he told me he gets a lot of phone calls on the American flags. I've been flying them flags for 8 years. You know why they're not up no more? Because I've been told, he told me if I fly my flags up there, right, he gets a lot of phone calls. Better if you clean that up. What's that mean when you get written up all the time for something that you don't do? So that's why the flags don't fly no more.
You're out of time, sir. I'm really sorry. I would suggest that when Mr. Garrett returns, that you set up a conference with him. I believe he tried to call you back, but your voicemail was full. He couldn't leave a message. So if you would like to do that, I would suggest you do that next week.
Chief, did your code enforcement tell you anything about flying my flags? Because on the response was on the city, they said, you guys didn't know about that. I know that. But I know the code enforcement guy said that.
Is this 3 minutes up?
Yes, it is.
Come on. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Mr. Suazo, I would like to say that I am in full understanding of what you and your wife and the witness that was involved in that meeting were told by city staff. I have taken note of that. That is, I'm in full understanding of what that situation entailed.
All I want to do is leave in peace and sell my business, let my wife run it, and let's leave in peace. And I don't want to close down the doghouse. I want to be able to sell it and move on to a new location. But when my wife's getting attacked when I'm out of town and verbally attacked, where somebody small like you got to look down at her and make her cry instead of helping her out. And there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. You got to figure it all out yourself. You're there to help us out.
You're out of time.
You know? And this is what you guys don't know. I gave Ken Hickey all the paperwork, right? So you guys go overlook everything that the city's making me do. This guy's making me do. Why can't you help us?
Your time is up, sir.
You can't help out a little bit?
You spoke against it.
Huh? You don't have nothing to say? I have everything to say.
We the people.
You know what I'm saying?
Your time
I want to leave in peace.
Abuse of power and authority.
For the record, there were 2 witnesses to that meeting.
Michael Bigway, San
Just a minute.
I didn't know you had the floor.
Well, it's not over?
Go ahead,
And
sir.
Ken, I believe you owe me a phone call if you're going to take a position on this issue and actually understand the issue from staff's perspective.
Okay.
Michael Bigway, San Canyon.
Excuse me, Mr. Dick, I'm sorry, one moment.
Yes.
When I have constituents, people in this audience, that come to me with concerns, I will address those concerns to the best of my ability. That is my open policy. It has been from the day that I was sworn into the seat. I've made my phone number very public. If you don't have it, write it down. It's 805-508-3912. If my constituents have a problem with anything going on in this town regarding issues, the city itself, or otherwise, or anything in between, do not hesitate to call and talk to me. Thank you, Mr. Bigley.
Michael Bigley, Sand Canyon, and I will be representing my group, Transparency and Accountability Government. Last meeting, I notified you guys of the actions of Jay Slosser, and I asked for independent investigation. Now you've heard it again. I want to see an independent investigation. I don't know who the person would be to turn it into. If it doesn't happen to be the labor board, I'm not sure yet. You guys are always worried about lawsuits. The thing that gives you guys the ace in the hole is you've got the taxpayer money to put people through these legal actions. So my group is going to start raising money for a legal defense fund to come after the city of Tehachapi for a couple issues. 3 of them I noted. And I'll just put you guys on notice too. There's concern to the EIR for your Sage Ranch project being conducted by the city because of the influence they might push through there. And the people in Mountain Meadows are concerned that you're going to take their water table away from them by building some new wells up there. And I noticed in the paperwork it said that possibly that money would be used for drilling new wells. So you might have some pushback on your EIR for that. And it might be noted to see if the Tehachapi probably shouldn't be doing that EIR for the contractor and then charging them for it. It should probably be the contractor pushing it through. So, you know, you guys are worried about lawsuits, they're probably coming. And all it takes is money. Thank you.
Thank you.
My understanding, Jay, you had someone in the office with you, in addition to the persons that came.
We want to talk personal about this.
Okay, we cannot talk about personnel. I would just ask Mr. Hedke, though, these issues to get to the bottom of it, make an appointment with Jay and with Greg Garrett, and sit down and get to the bottom of it, versus reading whatever's on social media. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, contrary to what you may believe about social media, if one of our constituents, and I'm talking collectively, come to either of us, any of us 5, with a concern or an issue pertaining to things that are going on in this community, we have the obligation, we took the oath to address those situations. And just like I asked last week about Mr. Graff's issue, Mr. Schroeder, you know, I asked very specifically if we could talk about whether open session, closed session, that situation. Now we're talking about Mr. Smith, you're recommending that I go have a meeting or make a phone call and sit down and talk about these issues. If we're going to talk about stuff, let's talk about stuff. If we're going to selectively talk about stuff, then we might as well just save our breath. We need to either understand what's going on in this community, we need to understand what's going on with employees, or we don't.
The people need to know what's happening.
Excuse me.
Sessions. We the people.
Yes, sir?
Lady, my name is James, representative of the city, 40 plus years. And nobody ever accused me of being smart, so I don't understand just what's going on with Pete Graff. Are we allowed to talk about that? In other words, did Pete Graff file an appeal for whatever happened to him?
You can talk about it, but they're not going to respond unless they individually will.
Well, okay, I guess you can answer my question. So did Pete Graff file an appeal?
Do you have anything more to say?
Yes.
We'll go ahead and say it.
Well, can I, that's my first question.
No, you're not going to give an answer to that question.
Why not? You said they
Well,
decide for themselves.
how do I find out about a question like that?
Make a budget representative question.
Get the gender.
Okay, then my next question would be, probably have to do the same thing. If he filed an appeal, has he been granted an appeal?
He did not filed an appeal, and he has not been granted an appeal.
Okay, so that answers all my questions. He did not file an appeal, and he has not been granted. Okay, thank you.
Any other public comments?
Clint Davies, undisclosed location.
What city, are you in the city of Tehachapi?
Depends which night. I'm sleeping in my car, thank you very much. I don't know, I've been to every city council meeting this year. Everybody has missed one or two or things like that, but the last city council meeting, I was arrested by the police. 6 police cars cruised to my house, and I was arrested for eavesdropping, for recording a conversation I had with our police chief for trying to report a crime. Now, I want to be very clear, it is not against the law to record the police. In fact, in 2015, Governor Brown signed a SB 411, which codified and clarified the laws regarding that, and basically said that you can record the police in any public setting or in any place you have a right to be, okay? Well, if I'm invited into his office, then it's implied that I already have a right to be there, okay? So I got charged with, check this out, felony eavesdropping for recording the police. This is 2019, folks, okay? I got taken to central receiving. I had to stay in a holding cell with a pile of trash that big. And is this a democracy that we have? And this isn't the first incident, but let me just give you a little bit of a history. I'm going to start with this last one real quick and just let you know, when I was in the car, one of the sergeants told me, and I quote, "This is happening to you because you're buddies with P-Craft." The First Amendment guarantees our right to appeal the government, to petition the government, and our right to association, okay? And he came out straight out and just said that, okay? There's case history on this. A person was worth $275,000 when they were arrested for recording the police last year in Sacramento, okay? Something needs to happen. And it goes back further than that. Back in June of last year, I came to my first city council meeting, and when I approached, I believe it was Dennis Wallstrom, and you were sitting right next to Madam Airways, and as I approached my complaint, our police chief tried to intervene before I tried to stop me. And you can go back and look at the video of that. It's all on the record, okay? And ever since then, it's been constantly harassed by the police. Why do you think I ran for office? I want to get these guys off my back. I've never had a criminal record, okay? Now I'm going through defamation, slander, and all these things. Charges that don't even make sense or not even on the books. Okay? So I had to pay $1,000. And then, when I contact you, you say contact Greg Carey. Well, Greg Carey, Phil, can you just get off your phone, please, sir? Thank you.
Excuse me. He's on the phone because he's timing you, and you're out of time.
Oh, okay.
3-minute timer.
I challenge you to remove me. I go to jail every Monday this month. Let's go ahead and do it again.
Okay, I need you to take your seat, please.
No, I'm not going to take my seat.
Then I will have to have you escorted to
You're
your
done.
seat.
Thank you.
So you don't want to hear it.
You've heard enough. We've already heard
Yeah,
it.
it's called color of the law.
You're done.
You look like you're about to have a stroke, sir.
You need to sit down, please.
No, I'm not tired.
Well, then move over to the side.
I'll move over to the side.
Yes.
You're out of time.
Way over to the side.
Mr. Schroeder, I don't believe you as the city attorney should be saying anything regarding this. This should be coming through the chair. That's point of order.
I'm assisting.
You're not assisting the chair. The chair can speak for herself. The chair, under the color of the council. Mr. Schroeder, please. If the chief needs to do something, the mayor can request the chief take action. This is not a city attorney issue.
Abuse of color of authority. No. No, sir. I told you no, sir, before in that video. It's on Facebook or YouTube. You can do it. Take me to jail. I've already been to jail.
I'm going to ask.
No, I'm going to ask you to take a seat.
Mr. Davies.
I'm going to ask the council.
One time,
For a motion.
I will ask you to sit down.
I'm going to ask the council for a motion
You'll be arrested
to ask the Department of Justice to invest the department.
Okay.
I was told told to stay away from city council meetings by your lieutenant, that it was not helpful. No,
Grab your book. Grab your book.
this is the Constitution, sir. Maybe you should try reading it. No, get your hands off me, sir. Either arrest me or go sit down.
Did the council hear his request
Yes, we heard his request.
about an investigation?
Yeah, you guys can do a vote right now. This is our democracy right here.
Because this is the fifth time this has happened, this man.
Sixth time.
Because he's stuck with
Excuse
this right
me.
here and this man.
Mr. Graff, you're out of order.
You guys are a bunch of cowards that hide behind keys.
Mr. Graff, you need to be quiet or you're going to have to leave.
Uniform gang.
You need to have order.
Yeah.
Do your jobs.
We're going to move on. Okay, all right. We're done with public comments. Moving on to item number 4.
You check and see if there were other comments.
Excuse me, Mr. Graff. I can call another police officer to have you removed. I'm asking you politely, please stop talking.
Uniform gang.
Excuse me?
Uniform gang. That's what this is.
I see. All right. Moving on, there will be no more public comments. Item number 4.
Madam Mayor, I need to recuse myself because I'm going to play Waterside Petroleum and possibly
Yes,
something.
thank you. Excuse me, we need to have order.
Uniform gang.
Whatever, we have to have order. Okay, our councilman has left the room. I need a motion for disbursements and bills for RSI Petroleum for May 29th, 2019 to June 10th, 2019.
Madam Mayor, I'm going to leave the chambers. I feel there's no longer any reason for me to be here.
Thank you, sir. I'll still entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Number 6,
Uniform gang.